SPL Sunday today, and you know what that means. It's time for some more Squawkabilly gaming. Now, I swear to God, if Joey doesn't bring Squawkabilly this week, I'm going to look stupid. But Joey, you got to bring the bird again. We need more bird gaming. I actually brought this mod because Joey had actually asked me to do it when I was getting him sprites for his SPL season. And then Nexus also asked me to do it when I was asking him for team ideas. So shout out to Joey and Nexus for the Squawkabilly idea. We're going to make it work, and I think we can kind of make the bird cook in VGC. If you enjoy and want to see some more content like this, of course, leave a like below and subscribe for more, as I'm going to bring you guys some daily VGC content with some very unique Pokemon. But with that said, let's get into this Squawkabilly team that we have built today. Starting off though, it wouldn't be a VGC team without Flutter main. This is a really good Flutter main, and I think in particular it benefits the team a lot that I brought. We have Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, and Icy Wind. With Icy Wind being a great way to get some nice speed control in case I can't really comfortably go for Tailwind, with Shadow Ball, Moonblast, and Dazzling Gleam all being very powerful stabs here. With my Tera Fairy typing, this should be great to benefit since I'll now gain a resistance to Sucker Punch, which is very valuable, and then still be able to buff my main move, Dazzling Gleam, which is a good spread option on a special attacking Pokemon like Flutter main. With my investment, even if I don't go for Tera Fairy though, I should still comfortably take any sort of Sucker Punches that are relevant in the tier, and my speed should allow it so that then with the Sun up, which, spoilers, we do have Sun on this team, that I will be able to outpace all the way through a Quark Drive Iron Boulder, even if it's max speed, since that is a new Pokemon and I wasn't really sure what it's running for speed investment and I just wanted to play it safe. Up next, we have a Gouging Fire, which is going to take great advantage of the Sun aspect of this team, and it's also a great way to clear through the Steel types that might potentially wall out Squawkabilly. With Heat Crash, Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, and Burning Bulwark, this is going to be a great sweeper for us overall, especially with our booster energy attack. With the speed, we should at +1 be able to outpace any relevant speed tier in the format, and with our 116 attack Adamant, we'll hit our nice attack bump here, leaving the rest going into bulk. I did mean to throw on Breaking Swipe, and I didn't realize it until I was in the middle of recording this actually. So if you do try this at home, I do recommend possibly throwing a Breaking Swipe as a nice adaptation over Dragon Claw. It's great to mitigate physical offense coming in, as there's a lot of it and people still are not really running Clear Amulet. So just some ideas in case you guys want to try the team yourselves, but Dragon Claw is still a nice single target option in case you're afraid of Wide Guard. Moving on though, we do have a Whimsicott, which is going to be our nice Tailwind setter with Moonblast, Tailwind, Beat Up, and Sunny Day. Now, keep in mind the Beat Up, as it will become very important later on for another partner that's going to benefit my Squawkabilly greatly. But with this Whimsicott overall, we have a nice Covert Cloak that should help a lot with getting around Fake Out users, and Tera Water will be great for most of our weaknesses to things like fire types. With our HP and speed, this is more so to just be as fast as possible so we can at least avoid taunt speed ties, and then the HP is just for general bulk here. And overall, Whimsicott should prove to be a very phenomenal partner on this team. Up next, we have a Landorus Incarnate with Tera Poison Life Orb with Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Substitute, and Protect. I would have went with Sandsteer, but my track record is not good hitting this move, so I went with Substitute actually, as this is another move that Lando will commonly run sometimes, and I think we have a team that can potentially force Protect enough to where I can take advantage of that, go for Substitute, and then just start walling whatever's in front of me and go for a really strong Earth Power and Sub after having scouted for Tera. We're just max speed, max special attack Landorus to hit as hard as possible, as fast as possible, as the point of the team is really just to keep hitting things quickly. Up next, we have the Mon you guys have all been waiting for, being none other than Squawkabilly with the Tera Flying typing. Now, I know Tera Normal probably would have been a little bit better to boost facade damage, but I wanted to make sure the dual Wing Beat was a viable flying stab, as I didn't really want to kill this thing off quicker than needed with going for a Tera Flying Brave Bird. So dual Wing Beat will be great here, as it's also a really good way around Sash users, specifically things like Sash Flutter main and Sash Whimsicott that I do think might actually come up in today's video, and I want to make sure we can just completely eviscerate them without worry, as both those Pokemon, it would be much better to click dual Wing Beat versus than a normal move or a flying move like Brave Bird. We're going to be max speed and max attack. Normally, this Mon wouldn't really have a speed tier that I'd care about, but creeping through any sort of Mons around like that 91 speed tier, such as Landorus, that might not have a Choice Scarf, as well, Ladder does skew towards Scarf, it's not a guaranteed item technically. This might actually have a reason to really pop that speed tier. And also with the Tailwind up, with just a little bit less speed, we'd be creeping Bundle anyway, so I figured why not just go max. Finally though, we do have Terrakion. Now this is the Pokemon that I mentioned we'd have Beat Up on Whimsicott for, and this is a nice alternative lead as it's great for clearing through a lot of checks to Squawkabilly. And on top of that as well, we can quickly boost our attack as much as possible, allowing us to get past options like Archaludon that might otherwise potentially wall through this. Overall, this will be a nice physical attacker that should hopefully get off some really strong damage, allowing Squawkabilly to clean through teams with quick attack in the endgame. And if you want to try this team out yourselves, we have the rental on screen right here for you guys, as well as the paste in the description below. And with that said, it is time for the Squawkabilly gaming. Alright, we're here today with the Squawkabilly video. I've had multiple people ask me for this Pokemon. I've actually had a weird amount of people ask me for Squawkabilly, and it's currently tied with Trapinch as of the time I'm recording this. The 103 vote mark, they both have 21% votes. So I decided this video is going up on Sunday. I'm tie breaking it. We're doing Squawk on SPL day. So Currently, we have Tailwind Squawk. Shoutouts to Nexus for telling me to very recently do this team. Shoutouts to Joey who asked me to do this team a while back. We have Squawk. I think this is a pretty decent matchup for it actually too, weirdly enough. They don't have a flying check on the team, which is amazing. Now, Bax could be a problem, especially if it has Ice Shard. I think it's probably going to be like dual stab and then protect with like Scale Shot, Icicle Spear, Ice Shard, protect. They might have high horsepower though, but Heatran kind of died out in the meta, and like Gouging Fire still dies to Scale Shot anyway. I think in my lead though is probably just, we're going to go for the beat up lead. I think it's actually really good into their team as like a nice early game breaker. We'll go with Squawk, and then I think my last spawn probably is going to be Gouging Fire because they don't have a great check to it late game. What Tera type am I on this though? Tera type on Gouging Fire will be very important actually. We are Tera Grass. Yeah, Tera Grass Gouging Fire goes fucking hard. Really the Bax is the only thing concerning for that, but they'll always click a dragon move first. So I'm kind of fine here. I just realized they have Mouse Hold on this team too, so they might actually ditch Ice Shard, which is even better for the bird. And also, I could probably just go for like a Guts Quick Attack and do so much damage to that. I should have been Tera Normal. I realized that after I like got the Mons, but unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. Tera Normal is not really going to be like the biggest concern here for it realistically, because flying is still going to help boost that dual wing beat a lot. They're going to lead off with Dual Dragon. Dual Dragon is very fine because I just go for beat up into the Tarak, and then I go for the Rock Slide, and I kind of just cook. There's not really a move that I'm too afraid of from these Pokemon, so we're just gonna go for this. I mean, they both are gonna kind of crumble. They'll E-speed my Whim. That's fine. They don't have a POW there. And they're gonna Ice Shard as well. Okay, Ice Shard is just bullying at that point. That's just bullying, but it is what it is. This is still not a huge concern because they left Tarak untouched. That means, and I can get off a serious hit into both Pokemon. Like that's half to Bax, and that's probably a multi-scale Dragonite, which is huge. We're going to go into the Gouging Fire here because I can Burning Bulwark that really quickly. They can't hit either of my, well, yeah, either of their priority moves if they go into Terrakion are going to both be fairly resisted, with E-Speed and Ice Shard both being a 2x resist. And then meanwhile, if they go for Gouging Fire, they potentially burn themselves. So I'm very okay with this. So we'll go for the Burning Bulwark here, plus the Rock Slide, and that should make both Pokemon crumble. If they go for my Gouging Fire, then even if they survive the Rock Slide, which I don't think that Bax will, but D-Knight probably will because it was multi-scale, then we're kind of set. They'll probably click D-Dance though if I had to get, no, they're just going to click E-Speed, and they're going to click it into Burning Bulwark, so that's amazing for us. Especially because that's a contact move right there. I don't think Ice Shard is, now that I say that out loud, but even if they do, I mean, I'm kind of fine with it. Yeah, okay, they just let Bax go down. So sweet, so Dragonite's useless, Bax is cleared. I don't even need to waste a Tera on my Gouging Fire now, which is really good. So we're kind of cooking. We've opened up the field pretty well to clear through their only two priority options for the Squawk. And even without Tailwind, I probably can just eviscerate most of their team in all honesty. We're going to proceed to go for a Burning Bulwark here. Not a burn. Oh shit, I don't have Breaking Swipe on this. I mean, that's still not a huge deal. I don't really need Breaking Swipe. I just should have put Breaking Swipe on this. That's still not a huge deal. Yeah, I can just go for Tera Grass and Dragon Dance, and then that'll still be good. And then I'll go for a... Do I value Dragonite at all? I don't really value Dragonite at all. I'm going to close combat into the Terrakion, because that could actually kind of pose a threat to the Squawk. So I would rather just open up the Squawk as well as possible. They're going to Tera. That's fine. It's probably going to be on the Terrakion. And this is still a good turn for me because I have booster speed and I'm also Tera Grass. So yeah, they've kind of just made themselves now really weak to Squawk because they got rid of their one resist to quick attack that they had, unless they have a Flutterman in that last slot, which in that case then one of two resistances to quick attack because they just have Flutterman, I guess. But Flutterman will now drop to my Heat Crash with my dual Dragon Dance, so even with their booster speed, I will outpace them. And then meanwhile, the Terrakion is just gonna have to take a Guts boosted hit. We're obviously no longer gonna be taking any real damage from the Dragonite, and the Terrakion is already actually so weak, which is, it's all really good for us. So yeah, we're looking like a nice Squawk endgame right now. They're gonna deal a Rock Slide off, I guess, which is fine. My Dragon Dance, yeah, that's still gonna help us a lot at this point. So I can now just go for like a Rock Slide and kind of just be set. I mean, they're not gonna really hurt us. They have no way to actually hurt us sufficiently. So I could also just go for another Dragon Dance, but I'm kind of afraid of a close combat this turn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a Rock Slide, and I'm going to go for a Burning Bulwark, just to be safe. If they kill my Terrakion, that's fine. I can bring in the bird, and the bird can deal some real damage here, so I'm fine with it. Plus, realistically, since they burn Tera, they can't Terra Fairy the Flutterman if they have it, which is only that much better. They'll E-speed the Tarak this time, Nice call, actually. That was a really good call that they didn't have to make, but they did. And it shows. They're gonna avoid Terrakion. That's, again, honestly, it works out well because the goal isn't to show off Terrakion, it's to show off the bird. It's to show off the little bird. And they're gonna close combat. Yeah, okay, so they called the Burning Bulwark. Well, really well done play, actually. That was a good play on my opponent's end. But they're only making themselves weaker to bird. They're not respecting the bird properly, and it really shows. It's actually very upsetting. It's not a huge deal, though, because, again, we want them to disrespect the bird. They don't think we brought the bird. They don't think about keeping their normal resistances around, and that's so good for us. So bird is going to come in, and they're going to bring in Whimsicott. This is huge. This is probably the best mon that could have came in for us. We're going to proceed to go for a Heat Crash here, right into the... Actually, no, I'll go for Dragon Claw into the Terrakion. And then I'm going to go for a Protect here. Actually, hold on. Do I go for that? I'm trying to think of my play. Yeah, I go for Protect here. I want my Guts. Because Guts is how we're going to deal the most damage possible to the Whimsicott. Especially if it has Charm. I want to really make sure we're leaning into damage on that. They're going to go for Tailwind here. That's fine. They're not going to get a really boosted hit with Terrakion, thankfully. And my Dragon Claw should pick that off very easily. It's not going to deal much with Rock Slide because it's a spread move on top of the fact that it's just not a strong mid-hit. And yeah, Dragon Claw will kill. Perfect. Okay. So even if it didn't kill, I could have quick attacked that on the following turn and picked it off before it hit my Squawk for super effective. So we're kind of fine with this. Just to be safe, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for the dual wing beat because I want to break the focus sash, in all honesty, that this thing most likely has. And I'll go for Dragon Dance because it's funnier that way. And also there's some practical reason to this, to be fair, because if I go for the Dragon Dance here, I can potentially like go for then a Burning Bulwark and stall out Tailwind enough to where I can then just eviscerate this if it does miss a dual wing beat here. So yeah, we'll go for the dual wing beat plus the Dragon Dance, and I can just get into a position where I can force this thing to respect. But yeah, thankfully, dual wing beat goes off and this does kill. Perfect. Good job, bird. Had to do it for the fans at home. We had to get the bird a nice kill to start off the video. We got to start off hype. It's SPL Sunday. Why are you? No, I'm kidding. I was gonna say why are you watching this video on SPL, but like finished watching the video. We have the bird 1-0 with Draft League bird. So we're gonna get into game number 2. All right, for game number 2 today, we're taking on a very interesting team. I like the Mons, honestly. Like I think there's enough that can be done here. I get the vision, but it's not to say that I think the team is going to give us any issues. It's just the fact that, you know, Sun is terrifying. I was just recording for the Belly Bolt video, actually, literally minutes ago, and Sun did us in game 3 for that one, so I'm still kind of terrified of starter Sun. But thankfully, though, they only have 9 tails, so I'm very fine with that. And Garchomp actually could be kind of decent against this team, actually. It has a pretty good matchup if they're like a nice defensive Tera. Creeping Landorus is not something that I really like either, so... yeah, not the prettiest matchup, but it can be done. It can be done. We're going to lead off. I kind of like the idea of leading off with, like, Gouging Fire Whim, or also Terrakion Whim. Again, does a pretty good job on lead. I think his team more so than the other one, even. So we're going to go with Whim Terrak. We're going to go with Squawk here because they have no normal resist. Facade is so spammable into this team. And then I think that my last mon is probably going to be Flutter, because Flutter could actually do some decent work. They have no Ghost Check either here. As opposed to like, so Landorus and Gouging Fire both could do some decent work. I'm a little afraid of clicking Sandsear here, and I think this is a game where I would need to click it, not for damage necessarily, but just to avoid losing a Pokemon. And Gouging Fire, while it is good, I think I would have brought it if I brought Dragon Claw. Not Dragon Claw. Well, actually, I don't know if I would have even done that. Because while it is good pre-Tera against like the Sun Core, post-Tera, it really needs post-Tera for things like the Swamp, not the Swampert, the Gastrodon and the Garchomp. And yeah, they go with Garchomp lead anyway. Okay, yeah, so this is a very terrifying lead if I did happen to bring it. But thankfully we don't. What's my Tera type in Terrakion again? It's Poison. Ooh, not a type I don't want to click in a Garchomp. We'll go for a Tailwind here, and then I'm going to go for a Protect. If I can't get the beat up off, that's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's something I would prefer to do. They'll probably just go for like a taunt, or if not a taunt, maybe like a Bleak Wind just for damage. I think that Bleak Wind is a serious play they could be making here, and if that's the case, I mean, it is what it is, but I can at least bring in Flutterman on the following turn and Force of Respect. We'll go for Tailwind, thankfully, before they can taunt me, which is huge. But yeah, what's Torn gonna do? Bleak Wind. Okay, so Bleak Wind is definitely, I'm glad I did not go for Beat Up there, because that could have been terrifying. They're gonna kill my Whim, so be it. It's not a huge deal. Terrakion doesn't need it. And we can bring in my Flutterman, thankfully. And Flutterman will be able to pose some serious damage to my opponent now. They'll go for Liquidation. Liquidation's kind of crazy, but that leads me to believe this might be like a Tera water spread. I'm kind of fine with it. I'm very fine with that, actually. Yeah, we'll bring in Flutterman. Flutterman is very fine here. It should deal some good damage to my opponent with Specs Gleam. I am going to go for Gleam. I know I talked about clicking Shadow Ball because I have no Ghost Check, but I think a Gleam is my safer click against this duo, and I'd rather just switch out Fluttermane than, or even just lose Fluttermane, than have to risk that. Plus, with Terrakion on the field, I'm a little less inclined to have to preserve for that reason. And then I'm going to click, I think I'm going to click Close Combat just for the damage into Garchomp, because I don't really, like, my things that would kind of concern me now would be like a Tera Steel Garchomp. If they're Poison, I can't do a lot about it anyway, but I'm not going to predict around Poison. So yeah, we're going to play around. Ooh, they're Water. Okay. Water is still fine. I kind of had a feeling that might have been Water after Liquidation, but I talked myself out of it because I mean, why click Liquidation against this team? Though I say that out loud, I mean, I guess my team is actually fairly weak to Liquidation. Gleam is still going to actually outpace, which is kind of insane. That is a slow Garchomp. Holy, oh right, you know what? We have Tailwind up too. I forgot about that. Okay, never mind. That's not a slow Garchomp. We just also have Tailwind. Rough Skin's gonna pop. It's gonna break Terrakion a little bit. That's fine. Earthquake will still deal a lot of damage. This is kind of why I didn't want to click the Poison Tera on Terrakion, because I'm still gonna lose this anyway. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I can still actually manage off some really good damage though. They actually are gonna also lose the Garchomp, which is great for us. My Fluttermane, meanwhile, should creep the Torrent, even if it's max speed, which is very nice. And then I could bring in the Squawk, and Squawk actually goes apeshit at this point. They're going to probably bring in a Fire type, which I'm kind of okay with. If they bring in any of the Fire types, whether it's Ninetales, Charizard, whatever, I can just go for the Facade or Dual Wing Beat into that, and we're kind of set. They're going to bring in Charizard. Okay, Charizard is perfect. Charizard is actually very perfect here. Yeah, we're going to go for the Dazzling Gleam here. We'll go for Tera. Yeah, we're going to go for just Dazzling Gleam at this point. And I'm going to go for Tera Flying, and I'm going to go for Dual Wing Beat and just try and get some nice damage on Zard. If they go for Sunny Day on Torn, so be it. I can't really play the game around them not going for Sunny Day on Torn, though. And realistically, if they're going to go for Sunny Day on Torn, it's because they did not bring Ninetales. Which, if they didn't bring Ninetales, then my play was always to try and kill the Charizard anyway before it could deal anything to me. And just kind of hope that it might be, like, modest. Now, they're not. They proceed to go for a Heat Wave here. That means that they clicked... Oh, okay, hold on. That means they're a Scarf Charizard, which is kind of insane. Scarf Charizard, good game. I can't beat that. Yeah, that's not something I was going to beat. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Again, another... I'm 0-2 against Starter Sun on this day I'm recording the video. Fucking insane. How is Starter Sun beating me twice now in the same day? 2 different starters, too. Kind of insane, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll get into game number 3 and we'll pull off a win. All right, for our final game of the day, we're taking on a very interesting Tail Room team. This definitely looks like it skews a lot more towards using Porygon for, like, anti-Tailwind, I guess, or even just, like, a nice bulky Pokemon, maybe as a Fluttermane check, because this team doesn't really have one. Either way, though, this is definitely going to be a Whimsicott and Terrakion lead yet again. Terrakion does have a really good offensive matchup here, because their only real check to it would be the Urshifu. And even still, like, I can definitely muscle that. I think that we're gonna bring the Bird for sure. The Bird does a lot here. And then I feel like Landorus is my last mod is pretty decent. It's great at revenging most things on this team. Though Gouging Fire might also not be a bad piece because it's a good check to things like the Urshifu and Ogerpon. This one's kind of rough. I can't lie. I'm kind of indifferent on these two. I feel like Fluttermane also might have merit. But the issue I have with Fluttermane is the fact that I think if Trick Room goes up, it's the most useless of the 3. And they could definitely go with Trick Room to try and beat my Tailwind. I'm going to go with... So I feel like that Landorus is probably the best choice because I'm a little worried about the Incineroar matchup right now. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to hope that they lead off with like Incineroar plus Torn. I think Incineroar plus Torn can be very easily muscle passed because I could just go for beat up and just immediately set up to try and win with Terrakion. If they're not going to go with that, if they're going to go with like an Urshifu Torn lead, then I need to be a bit careful. But I'm going to kind of hope that they don't. So they're going to go with... Oh, they do go with Incineroar. Okay, that's very fine. That's actually very fine. Yeah, we can just go for a beat up immediately plus a Rock Slide and then just start claiming kills because I think they'll probably go for the Fake Out into Whim mostly just to try and I think they'll probably do it just to Sash Break in all honesty. I'm kind of fine with that. We're gonna go for the Rock Slide though because that will punish if they don't go for Bleak Wind here immediately. And if they do go for Bleak Wind here immediately, that's fine because I'll still get my beat up buff before anything else. So I'm kind of okay with this. They'll Fake Out Tarak. Okay. So Tarak I know will still take the hit comfortably. And they're going to go for Taunt and a Whimsicott. So I'm kind of okay not getting my Tailwind up because I'll still get the beat up. And even if they go for a Tailwind on the following turn, I can just go for another, set of attacks. Like I can very comfortably get off a nice hit with my Terrakion here. So we're going to go for it. Yeah, we'll get the +6. We'll get the +6 off and just wall break really quickly. So we'll go for a beat up plus Rock Slide this turn. And I can't imagine a switch in the hat for that. We had a nice 4 hits off, so we're +4 already. And then, yeah, we'll go for... I can also just go for Moonblast, just to make sure the Torn dies. Like, there might actually be merit. Let me check how much Tornadus versus Terrakion. I'm kind of curious how much, like, a +4 Quick Attack does. So Quick Attack with +4 does... Actually, it does sizable damage. How much does Whimsicott do with Moonblast? We're like max HP, that's gonna do like no damage. Okay, so I will need to go, I think my better play is to go for the Rock Slide. Yeah, Rock Slide should be good though. I'm still very fine with the Rock Slide in all honesty. Yeah, so the Moonblast plus Rock Slide combination is gonna deal a lot. Don't dodge Tornadus at least. Yeah, okay, so Tornadus at least does die to this, that's fine. Because Incineroar, it's gonna have to go for like a Wisp to damage mitigate, and if it's gonna go for a Wisp, it's still on the field, and it still has to deal with a very boosted Terrakion anyway. They're gonna go for knockoff, okay. So they're gonna go to my Amulet, but does it really matter? They're gonna boost my attack even further with that. And I'm kind of okay with this because Incineroar is the Mon in front of me. That's their Intimidator. So I'm kind of okay with this. I can also protect and then swap out Whim and be kind of fine. I'll get it. I'll go into Squawk, honestly, probably very aggressively. They're gonna go into Urshifu, yeah. Ooh, they're Urshifu single, never mind. I should always just try and Moonblast that. We'll go for Moonblast, and I'm gonna go for a Rocks. No, I'll go for just a Quick Attack. That should get around any sort of random Tera, and it also doesn't miss, which is decent. Actually, no, I go for Rock Slide. Yeah, I always go for Rock Slide. Even with the +5, I'm not very confident. So we'll go for Moonblast plus, oh, they're not Sash. Okay, then this is really good. This is a very free endgame here. At least we got to show off the beat up Terrakion and Whimsicott duo, which is kind of decent. Never mind. We miss. And oh, okay, so this just took a lot of time. This game needs to stop, like, fucking me over with Timer. Because Timer is very not kind to this. Okay, so Whimsicott took off the taunt. They're going to probably forfeit, in honesty, which is a little shameful because really wanted to pop the Squawk. Maybe they don't. They have Porygon together. They're going to forfeit unless they have Tera Ghost. Which if they're Tera Ghost, they could actually maybe win. Just to be safe, because I kind of want to play into it if it's Tera Ghost, I can't lie. We'll go for the Moonblast here, and I'm going to go for the Close Combat. Partially because it just puts them out of their misery if they're not Tera Ghost. Yep, that'll cancel it. Okay. Unfortunate. Well, that's going to be where we're going to end today's video. We at least got Squawk to show off in a little bit in the other games. I know this last game wasn't really a Squawk game, but I'm glad that we also got to show off the other part of the team because it's meant to be like Terrakion and Squawk as the duo here. So if you guys enjoyed and want to see more content like this, like and subscribe for more, and consider becoming a channel member. For just a couple dollars a month, you get some nice bonus content. And on top of that as well, it's just a great way to go the extra mile to support the channel. Our current channel members are none other than Zeke, Mia, Josh aka Ultra Player, Obo. We also have Rao Sakura, Endless Gadgets, and Incog M. Thank you guys very much for your support in the channel. It really means a lot. And with that said, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video where we're going to be using a very interesting team. Look forward to it. It's probably the most interesting team that I've built in a long while. So we'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys.